guys, welcome back to the Doom Eternal series. This is the 14th and final episode of all of this, and we're finishing off with the second DLC, The Ancient Gods Part 2. This is the first of the 4 levels we're going to cover today, and this one's pretty easy, especially considering the fact that we just crawled out of the hellhole they called The Ancient Gods Part 1. This level opens with a beautiful map and immediately takes us to a new feature called the Meat Hook Swing. By just meat hooking the green glowy thing, you can swing yourself forwards and continue with the god-awful platforming. Then, we meet another new feature right after that called the Screecher Zombie. They may look like an unoriginal, uncreative variant of a zombie from the first DLC's bottomless pit of dumb ideas, but trust me, these guys are very new, very unique, and very much a pain in the ass. Their whole gimmick is that they buff everything around them when they die, but the worst part about that is that they are as fragile as a private school kid. A light tap on the shoulder will start one of their temper tantrums, and somehow I've got to manage to use a high-spread shotgun around them.
My son's curse has been lifted, and I atone for my sins.
Hey, do y'all remember the Crucible? Yeah, screw that thing, we got the hammer now. Not only is this thing the freshest thing in the toolbox, but when we use it to attack, this thing stuns everything around it. And I only know one thing crazier than the amount of time it takes for the demons to recuperate. After you get the hammer, there's a combat encounter where you'll learn how to use it practically, so just treat every living thing around you like a nail for a solid minute and you'll be done in no time. After we get the hammer and go through that quick little encounter, we meet our first new enemy of the DLC that has the sole purpose of forcing us to use a forgotten weapon with a forgotten mod. Meet the Stone Imp. To kill these guys, you need to use the shotgun, and I don't mean a shotgun, as in the super shotgun or the combat shotgun. What I mean is that you can only use the combat shotgun, and not only that, you need to use full auto. Say goodbye to sticky bombs because stone imps are literally everywhere in the second DLC and need to be dealt with. Luckily, I use frag grenades to deal with the cacos most of the time, so I don't have a major challenge with switching to full auto. The only thing with me is that I haven't used full auto since probably the first episode of this series. The only thing I remember about it is that I would have full ammo when I pulled the trigger, and literally 2 shots later, all of my shells would be gone. Thankfully, the devs made it so enemies killed by full auto drop shells upon death, with stone imps dropping the most, but there is a problem with that. If you can't hit your shots and drain yourself of shotgun shells before your chainsaw recharges, then you've got to fight near unkillable imps, which is easy for everyone like me, but to all you Nightmare players, have fun.
This is the Torch of Kings. Lighting it signifies to all that a warrior seeks passage to the World Sphere.
After we meet the full auto enforcers, we go through a really cool cutscene where we get to light this giant torch that summons a dragon. We climb on its back and it carries us as it flies to the North Pole.
You're not the only one who wants this mission accomplished. If you defeat the Dark Lord, any demon outside of Hell would be destroyed.
Unfortunately, Santa isn't there to greet us, as he's been presumed dead since he went missing in the earliest days of the demonic invasion. A theory about his disappearance is that he's still trying to deliver all the presents to all the boys and girls, but the demons made the trip long and treacherous. It is possible, though, that Santa may have actually reached one of the last bastions of humanity and been immediately shot down by the anti-aircraft cannons. We press on and reach this misty lake where one of the voices in our head tells us that we are worthy. After that, a bridge rises out of the lake as a result of that, and we quickly cross, ignoring the fact that we're probably losing touch with reality. We continue on to this giant blue crystal thing that looks like something straight out of How to Train Your Dragon 2. 2 guards open the door to the crystal thing and we step inside. Immediately we are blinded worse than when you come out of the movie theater at daytime, and suddenly we're in a really weird dimension. We ignore the fact that we're probably still at our home base having a really long acid trip on our couch and continue on to the inner section of the crystal. After failing some platforming multiple times, we reach this weird crystal thing floating above a magic rock. We steal it without a second thought, just as we've done with everything else, and decide to not think about the fact that we're going to federal prison for our repetitive illegal actions. We travel through a portal to Earth, which has turned into a giant forest after 2 weeks of vegans and lawnmowers being extinct. A new demon called the Cursed Prowler shows up and introduces himself to us by punching us in the face. No matter how much you hate Screecher zombies, these guys are even worse. A single attack from them will not only blind you, but it will also prevent you from dashing and revoke your meat hooking rights. The only way to restore yourself back to normal is to blood punch this guy, but unfortunately for you, his best skill is running away. So have fun chasing a teleporting demon who's already faster than you when you can't dash or meat hook him. After that, we continue through this dystopian future city where climate change has been eradicated, a terrifying prospect, I know, and reach a train that has been without fuel for what looks like years. God, Thomas, what happened to you? Despite the loss of such an iconic tank engine weighing on our soul, we continue on our difficult journey and encounter yet another new enemy designed to stop us in our tracks. These guys look like relatively normal shield soldiers with nothing different other than their strange armor and different shield color. Despite their appearance suggesting that they are almost identical to their lesser cousins, they can absolutely destroy you if you're not careful. The reason they're so powerful is that they carry powerful riot shields that bestow upon them the power of police brutality, and trust me, they will use that power. Not only will they use that power, they will abuse that power while abusing you. They also have miniguns for hands, like a fucking Warhammer character, and use them to rip and tear through your health bar. Honestly, these guys feel a lot less like shield soldiers and a lot more like hunters from Halo. After meeting those guys, it'll go through way too many combat areas, including an escalation encounter for some reason because the hammer wasn't overpowered enough already. For some reason, this yellow gore nest also hates me, which I know because it killed me 3 times and then crashed my game twice. A little while later, we encounter a Pinky, except this is a special Pinky, and no, I don't mean special like the kids in special ed. What I mean is that he's stupidly powerful, and that's because he's a possessed Pinky. Pinkies already move stupidly fast when they're charging, but this guy might as well just have a dash button at this point. The drugs in his system that have got him moving so fast that he isn't even on speed anymore. He is speed. After that, we get through another combat encounter, and then after that we go through another one, before finally getting to the last area of the map. Guess what it is? Another combat encounter. What the fuck else could it be? This one doesn't introduce anything new, but what it does do is throw every single enemy you can think of at you all at once. I already saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, great movie, but the moment I entered this combat area, I saw everything in one place all at once. It was like a dog pile in a food processor, because I was at the bottom holding my chainsaw upwards at the pile of demons crashing onto me. After that, we went into this other room and used one of the many things we stole to activate a portal. We dived in and flew through all of space and time. Then we finally completed the goal we set out to do at the start of all this as we reached the bottommost layer of hell. Finally, I found a place where I belong. Hell. As we step out of the abyss of the portal, we see an army staring back at us. The Dark Lord is standing on his rich person balcony yelling orders at everyone around him. Thankfully, he's put on some clothes in his time in hell and is wearing a cooler version of our suit. We can probably beat up the millions of demons in front of us within a couple minutes at least, but an army shows up behind us like it's the Avengers or something, and they decide to fight the devil with us so they can probably get some of the credit. With battles all around us, we tread forwards through many demons. This level is super cool with all the detailed encounters around us as the armies clash, but because of the fact that my internet doesn't like me, and my Xbox isn't great, it kept crashing as I recorded. The level was trying to render a literal war around me, but, it wasn't that bad most of the time. My Xbox only decided to crash when I looked at something cool or did something really good that I would want to show you guys. The consistent crashing and long combat encounters made progress very slow, but after 2 days of gameplay, we finally made it through the opening area. Once on the other side of the wall of not quite flesh, we reached a new enemy. Meet the Demon Soldiers, or as I like to call them, the I was made in half a day with a $10 budget soldiers. The reason I gave them this special and stupidly long name is because of the fact that they seem like they were made a week before release to satisfy ID Software's player base of rageaholics. The demon soldiers can't be chainsawed because of their armor and cannot be glory killed because of the budget. They die easily and always drop ammo upon death to compensate for their lack of interesting things. They also had such little effort put into their animations that I've seen zombie men from 1993 Doom seem more realistic than these guys. After meeting the definition of a low budget, we went down to a small area with a double marauder fight. We've already been through one of these encounters before, so the devs decided to step it up by putting Screecher zombies everywhere, who want nothing more than to die. A marauder with a buff totem, easy. 2 marauders, normal. 2 marauders with a Screecher buff, I'd rather fight God, and that's not a joke. I'd literally rather go through this boss fight an extra time rather than face both Screecher buff marauders again. After you get through the marauders with a combined anger of 1,000 armies, you'll find a room with a bunch of loot and an ominous portal. On the other side, a cutscene starts, but instead of leading you to a boss fight or something interesting, a basic combat encounter starts. Instead of letting us live life peacefully, ID Software decided to throw a possessed Baron at us after 3 waves of imps and zombies, just to throw us off a little. This fight starts pretty easy, but it lasts way too long and has way too many enemies by the end. The sheer amount of basic enemies is already a pain, but combine that with an armored Baron, a Tyrant, a Doom Hunter, and a couple of spirits floating around, and you realize this encounter isn't designed to be fun. It's designed to be a pain in the ass. After that, there's a cutscene that takes us through one of the coolest moments in Doom Eternal. Before sending us off to fight a crowd of a gazillion stone imps. After the encounter with the not-so-small group of stone imps, we find this giant energy beam that is blocking off all communications and dive in. Instead of it pushing us upward like last time, we fall down helplessly, and after entering the dark abyss of the bottomless pit we've just fallen in, we enter level 4.
You bring violence and war to thwart the Dark Realm. But conflict was born in hell. It is inevitable. A fire that fuels creation and gives...
Holy shit, that's amazing! Did you guys see that? Not only does he have that awesome armor, but he's actually got a shirt underneath. This guy was in the most religious church in the most religious dimension, and he was wearing literally nothing. But when he's in his own house, just chillin', he's not only wearing clothes, but he's also wearing a shirt. What is that logic? Okay, so this is the boss. He looks super cool and he's really powerful. I actually thought that he was just a buffed up version of the Gladiator with his sword and shield and all, but after I fought him, I realized he is so much more powerful than you could ever imagine. No joke, this guy is crazy powerful. But you know what else is crazy? You can tell this guy isn't a demon, but what I never realized was that he wasn't a god either. Like, in the lore he is, but I always thought that this boss fight would be a lot like the other gods, like the Khan Maker or the Icon of Sin, but no, it's kind of very different. Like, with the Icon of Sin and even the Khan Maker, it's just a giant enemy with lots of health and high damage, but that's not what he is. The Dark Lord is set apart from every other enemy in Doom Eternal because of his confidence in the story and because of his actual fighting style, basically. Everyone we fight that isn't a rabid, unintelligent animal knows how powerful we are and knows that they can't defeat us. They know that we will rip and tear them apart eventually, but they're just trying to keep that eventually as far away as possible.
You cannot stop me!
The Dark Lord also knows our power, but he still believes that he'll come out of the fight alive and on top. He isn't scared of us at all. In fact, he's confident at times that he'll defeat us. Contrary to popular belief, the reason for this confidence isn't liquor, it's because he's got the same superpower juice that we do, which sounds a lot like I'm still talking about alcohol now that I think about it, but that's not what I mean. What I mean is that he's confident because he's got the same religion power that we do. See, we're powerful because we got a blood donation from Jesus, but he's powerful because he made Jesus. He even made us by using himself as the model, which is why he's just a more powerful version of us. If Doomguy is me and the Dark Lord is another player, then he is that one unemployed homie who's been playing this game since beta release with an obvious obsession that has ruined multiple of his relationships. That's the power gap. But back to the Dark Lord. He's you. No joke, he can do everything you can, but better. Shoot him, and the buckshot will bounce off his armor while he activates his laser cannon. Punch him, and he'll uppercut you with his shield. Throw a grenade, and he'll drop the power of the sun on you faster than America in World War II. I whipped up the hammer on this motherfucker, and he took out his sword so we could have a competition of whose was bigger. After that, I hit him with the hammer, and he summoned Hell's Army, purely so he could have an audience as he smacked my head off my body with his sword and got a home run. After fighting him for a while, a cutscene starts where he turns around and talks to the voices.
Tell him.
As we realize we aren't the only one with a rapidly destabilizing sense of reality, the Dark Lord tells us that he's actually God instead of the devil.
All things were made by my hand.
But we already knew that. We tell him that we already knew that, no shit, Sherlock, and he gets extremely angry, so after telling him that we don't give a shit even further by cocking our shotgun, he finally decides that it's time for him to shut up for good and try and make us shut up for good. The rest of the battle is a silent bliss of calming violence and hatred. Thanks to this. Throughout the rest of the fight, we did as much as we could to piss him off just to show him what we really are. After finally smacking this guy in the face for the fucking 5th time, a final cutscene begins, and now this series can be over.
Nothing to say to your creator before you strike him down.
Are you f***ing shitting me? And that's the end. No, it's a bit unclimactic for a series that's taken us 5 months to get through, but I mean, Xbox Live shut down, and I am not going to replay an entire mission that is that difficult. I'm not fighting the Dark Lord a second time for one cutscene. I only have an hour to get this video together and out if I want to make it on schedule. If you somehow, against all odds, made it this far in the video and you are not subscribed, please consider it, man. There's no way you kept watching if you did not find this funny or interesting in some way. I promise you, all my videos, well, that's a complete lie. Some of my, one other video is a lot like this and actually good. So just man, subscribe, please, man. I need some.